Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that my sound is okay. I have no idea if it is. Check it out in just a second. But welcome to another episode of Scotch and Stocks. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Mara's earnings. They are sitting on the docket. Market's about to close. Nvidia's retreating from all-time highs. And Google is pumping, which is nice. You know, we are finding some defensiveness in Google. Very, very interesting. We have major data coming out starting today. Tomorrow is going to be a wild, wild, wild day. So pay attention and stay frothy. Do feel markets are extremely frothy today. We are sitting on a 21% return year to date. That will be coming down just a tad today as the markets are retreating in the data. But nothing to worry about. We have a couple of trades going on for Marathon Digital. They changed their names. It's Mara Holdings. Very interesting. Mara or the company. Well, Mara is set to have earnings released today. It's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be a wild ride. Some of the companies I would be paying attention to, I believe Visa has earnings today. Who is it? Close. Market closes. We are 4.7% down on that Mara trade starting off. Pretty much either double or stay away from it. But price is expected to be moving. Thought I was logged in, but yeah. We have Visa, Starbucks. Can actually go down to the 10 billion. Just to get an idea, we have EA, Mondelez. Interesting names in the docket today. But yeah, let's go tomorrow. Let's figure out exactly what is happening. We're expecting earnings per share of 0.07 cents and revenue estimates to be $227 million. Actually, those revenue estimates are wrong. I think we're going to be upside. We're likely to get around $300 million worth of revenue, and earnings per share likely to be up given the increase in the Bitcoin price during the Q2 period. Yeah, this is, I don't know why this. Uh, Webcast and conference call July 29th. We'll be paying attention to the. Hopefully, we can get an idea of what the company's going to do. They can explain to us why they're borrowing so much money, but they're putting the money to work, so I'm not too mad about it. I mean, we're getting diluted. It's one of the problems with this company, you know. But Microsoft gets rewarded while Mara gets punished. Like, it's interesting. Interesting. Given the fact that they're pivoting into AI, potentially selling the computing power. See what happens. Now we wait. We are expecting shortly after the close, and we have the call an hour from now. Right, all right. They actually produced 3,197 Bitcoin. They're holding currently, at least for June, the numbers were 49,000, which is nothing to scoff at. I mean, I do believe the second largest Bitcoin strategy. Bitcoin holdings are just massive. Today was a weird day. Nothing more than de-risking. Does make sense. Does make sense. Bitcoin doesn't want to break the one here. So that's super. Apparently we have dubbing, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, Mara announces. Oh wow. Stock is moving. Indeed it is. Look. Yeah, the results are out. Whoa. Happening. We are moving a little. Bugging out a little bit here. But yeah, stock's moving to the upside. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. The fact, ooh, there we go. There we go. Somebody seems to like these earnings. We do have some sort of results here. Oh. So the revenue was 238, which is, I believe, a beat on expectations. Let us have a look here. Sorry for the messiness. So we were expecting 227 million. We actually got to 238, which is a beat. And I'm trying to get the earnings per share on here. But I guess we'll figure it out in a little while. But I'm assuming if this is better than expected, Bitcoin holdings are massive, so they definitely made money on this, for sure. Welcome, Tristan. But yeah, they increased to, they have actually their number is a little bit higher, but I had in the numbers they release, because they release them monthly anyway. You get an idea of how the company will perform. I thought they were going to get around 300 million, but based on the amount mined, the total actual revenue based on that is 377 million. That's actually even higher than that, right? Indeed. Stocks liking it. Like I know, well, which one? Like the last one? So revenue increased due to, so it's massive growth, right? It's still really good growth. Still a loss. Better. What? Why is this? Are they counting? Is this for? Did I get this wrong? Are they just counting 3 months here? Yeah, right? Okay, so if it's three, okay, that's where I'm making the big mistake here. All right, so look at something. All right, yeah, I count it. Not bad. Yeah, so it's 7 to 5, 7 cents. Okay, that number makes sense. They 1 to 1. All right, so 0, 3, 0 plus. I want to see how bad I got it. 63 0 plus 70. Makes sense. Okay, we're a little bit under that. All right. All right. We have some picture is not enough energy to meet. Truth is that there is ample energy. Data centers use more flexible load profiles. All right. So this is interesting because, well, I guess is like having the right energy in the right place, right? Okay. So this makes a lot of sense, right? Interestingly enough, this helps solar. So FSLR should benefit from this. If this is to be true, but this is really good. I'm gonna share this with my people. Uh, that's the thing. Like their transition to compute is very smart because whenever AI compute is not needed, they can just go back to mining, right? So whatever is more profitable. So you're doing the arbitrage mining in a sense. Oh, there we go. Earnings per share is $1.84. Damn. According to this. Damn. The numbers are so all over the place because not many people cover this stock. But yeah, $1.84. Massive beat on earnings per share. Stock should be rallying on the. We could potentially see it to break out and go back test all-time highs here. Not all-time highs, but like the last rally highs, so probably like 18. Be interesting. This makes me money tomorrow. Kind of good. It'll be interesting to see what they say in the call. All right. Like one of the really nice things about Mara here is the fact that they produce Bitcoin so cheaply. Yeah, you see, this is super intriguing too. They're the second biggest holder of Bitcoin after MicroStrategy. This is this is really good. Oh my. Oh my. You don't get any attention until like it explodes, right? And then all of a sudden, the problem is just like the volatility on the stock is just crazy, right? This is really good. Share this. I like the stock. I mean, I've held it for a while. There's massive dilution, but they're putting the money to work. Right now, they're able to actually borrow money, which is fantastic. You know? Yeah, I messed up. I thought they were gonna get 300 million, but actually, they're not bad. Like they're within the estimate, which is good. 238 million. Buy it. Buy it. And then we have to see what's happening on the next 3 months. If Bitcoin maintains in these levels, we're gonna see major major interest, right? But yeah, we're number two right here, right? Like back in the day, I remember when they used to just say it's like we mine Bitcoin, right? And that now they're going into the AI boom. It'll be interesting to see, right? Like the fact that they're going with Google, I really like, right? So they're putting a claim on MicroStrategy here. While recent quarters have seen a raise in companies positioning themselves as Bitcoin treasury vehicles. Yeah, they continue to buy. You can actually see everything they do here, right? It's so crazy. Like they've just financial jargon. Yeah, here. So yeah, 721. So yeah, last week. Here we go. Average cost. Okay. Massive. This is a massive dab at Michael Saylor. This is what I like. You know what I mean? At least we're producing something, and then we at least have that computing power to kind of play around with if Bitcoin goes crazy, right? If Bitcoin collapses, you have that hedge, which is the one thing I really like about Mara. But again, it's just the fact that they keep diluting it just continues to upset investors. I mean, what's their short float right now? Stock detail. It's like they have massive short float. They're getting shorted to the 24% shorted. Institutions own 58%, almost 9. Insiders are selling the stock, and institutions are selling a little bit. But I think they're extremely well positioned to take advantage of what's coming. Mm. Share this. Yeah, look at this. I love this. Like, to produce a Bitcoin is 33K. That's nuts. And they have like American energy too. Like, what? They continue to put that number down too. It's like they were claiming that the reason they didn't get as many Bitcoins in this quarter was because of luck. Like apparently just like solving. Like the reason green energy works so well with them is because you need to use green energy as fast as possible. You can't just store it. Like you can store it, but you want to use it when you have it with green energy, right? When you got wind, you want to use it. When you got sun, you want to use. You want to make the bulk of your energy consumption like in those as soon as you get it, and you can use it, right? Like if you're not using it for the grid or you can't sell it higher, you just like so it's interesting, right? Because like their revenue model is based on energy prices, is based on supply demand of energy. Like it's also like mining and also AI compute is coming into the picture, which is going to be super interesting. I wonder. I don't know. Well, probably like Jensen has not talked about this, but it'd be interesting to see what a Blackwell chip can do for. But I know it's a little bit more sort of what's the other chip model that work better for the ASIC models that work better for mining inference. Like apparently they're really good for it. I don't know if they're buying more. They're holding a lot of the Bitcoin that they're mining. Right? Like they're keeping. So you can see. So interestingly, the press release is able to see how much Bitcoin they. Right. So we have for example, like no, I keep messing it up. So it's like for example, like April updates their report. Bam, bam. You can see how many they have. So, for example, like in April they had a 48. So they actually sold some. So they are selling into the market, into the strength. But they are keeping some of it too, right? Because from that to June. Yeah, it does. Correct. Very, very correct. Yeah. Strategy's okay. You know what I mean? Like I'm not upset at the strategy. It's just like, whoa, let's go. I should have put my normal sizing. I would have made so much money on those. My contract's in the money now. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Go. I mean, like they're putting the money to work. It's just kind of good, but great. Today is a good day to be a Mara holder. That's for sure. That's 400 shares. I have 400 contracts at. Did I buy? I didn't even know what I bought. Yeah, so I have four contracts at 17. Not a lot of money. I didn't put a lot of money. I wasn't sure. I still hold most of my position is held in stock, so I am making money finally. Well, actually, no, finally. I'm still losing money. But I believe in the stock. I believe in the stock. Go. Share this. My people. My peoples. We could see it touch 20. Like if Bitcoin maintains these levels, we like the stock. You know what I mean? We like the stock for sure. Finding people are starting to get deep to the numbers. Like I think Mara has more of a business than MicroStrategy does. In all honesty, could I be wrong? Could my strategy do better? Probably it'll do better. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of like financial wizardry going on. But yeah, we build Mara at the intersection of the two fastest growing industries on Earth: energy and compute. It's not. It is so good. It's so good. They didn't purchase anything. They purchased some last, and then they purchased some in Q4. They haven't purchased any just yet. I wouldn't be surprised. Like it doesn't seem like they purchased a lot in Q1, Q2. Also, taking that into consideration, we could see some purchases coming in. Second biggest holder. It's beautiful. For no, advancing inference. That's the thing. ASIC chips are really good for inference. This was me back in the day. I remember this. I still hold the case of the PC that was that I used to mine getting fun times. You know, and funny enough, like, oh, you know who takes advantage of the big beautiful bill? Mara takes advantage of the big beautiful bill. Mara takes advantage of the big beautiful bill because then they can depreciate fully their miners. I want to buy more. I'm surprised they don't talk about that at all. Oh. You gotta buy it, right? Like, it's like that's the thing. Like, I don't like to go all in a stock, right? Like, unless you have like really strong conviction on it, like you can always like scale it, right? Like, just wait, right, and start building a position. If it comes down, great, and if it goes up, great. You can always buy more. So I'm glad, I'm glad. I believe in the stock. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're borrowing a lot of money, and hopefully you don't get burned because it's the way that they're borrowing money is kind of very scary when it comes to you, right? But yeah. Or council people. Bam, bam. I still haven't even looked at the numbers yet. Yeah. I don't know. I like the big beautiful bill. It's an interesting one, because it entices like companies to invest massively in America. If you can depreciate whatever you're buying on the first year, it's really OP. Like data centers, you're gonna be able to just like at the recent Google increase capital expenditures just because you can count it as a lot, like as a cost, right? Research and development is gonna go as a cost. Like all of this is gonna go as a cost, right? So it's just you're gonna play with your taxes. Your earnings are gonna get affected a little bit, but gonna reinvest it back into the company. You're gonna create jobs. It becomes really good, right? Like it incentivizes you to overexpend. The question is do they overexpend? They get in a position where they have overspent, they have way too much production, and they have to dial it back or sell it off. They take advantage of like buying different like energy grids that are already laid out. And with the big beautiful bill, I know for a fact that like solar and wind is gonna start getting phased out. So maybe they start invest like they invest a chunk, and that's why we're seeing potential a lot of money borrowed in order to get like energy back online. I'm kind of excited. I'm really, really excited of the prospects. I am really, really excited. But yeah, they did sell into this. I'm doing good sir. I'm doing good. How you doing? I'm alive and well, and my house is in freaking shambles. My freaking that glass right there from my shower. Fun. Like 60%, 64% increase on revenue. Income 500% because they're actually profitable. Because this is a different accounting method. I really like this company. I really like this company. Oh man. Yeah. They're fantastic. They're fantastic numbers. Yeah. They beat earnings. They increase Bitcoin position. I think they're holding how much? It's like they've gone over 50K. So like let's say they have 50,000. They definitely bought through this or potentially kept some. Times 117. 6 billion in Bitcoin. As long as Bitcoin holds value. I think if we go to the stock, it's hilarious here because market cap of the stock is 6, it's a 5. They have a ton of debt, but here it's the enterprise value is sitting at 8. Yeah, stock's doing sitting at 17. I'm in the money. Let's go. My life of in the money. I'm not in the money. I bought at 50. I'm not in the money. I'm in the money. I'm in. Well, and the fact that you have this, I wonder if this is gonna. Me too. Me too. UNH, it's supposed to be safety, and I'm getting hammered on. Hammered. Hammered. It's so bad. But I mean, it's like it's a long-term play. They should be fine. But again, the big beautiful bill hurts them a little bit too, because we're seeing cuts in Medicaid. I think revenue is good, right? But I think revenue was good, but then we saw like earnings per share. Yeah, you're seeing massive volatility too, But it's in the Dow, which is I'm super surprised about. Yeah, like I'm making my money with it. Like it's not a massive position in my portfolio, but man, it hurts. It hurts. Like there's been worse too. This one. ChatGPT. Actually, here I need to send this. First Solar has earnings on. Is it tomorrow or the day after? I think it's the day after. Oh, but it's like investors. Like investors make decisions on what I'm about to write here. Like literally. This. There you go. He didn't talk about Mara. Ah, perplexity, perplexity, perplexity. So M&M is my company, and I'm thinking of potentially pivoting, but I still don't know. I still don't know. I changed the name. I didn't change the tag. Price target for Mara. Stock should be 24, 25 bucks, dude. In all honesty, it's too much. Mm. Right. I've got the Scotch right there, but I'm not drinking today. I have freaking dust everywhere. I'm doing renovations in my house, and it's like I just haven't been able to keep up with anything. Being kind of crazy. Um, yeah, let's go. All right, let's go. The deck. I like this. I really like this. All right, beautiful. Like stock could be at 24 bucks, man. It's like I don't know, right? It could be so much higher than it is right now. Just in Bitcoin alone. Obviously, they have a ton of debt. They have the convertible notes here. It's like 2026, this could be a problem. Then they're shifting that further, right? So one of the reasons that they got debt in the last one was to shift to buy some of it back and then reshuffle it. You know, so there's dilution for sure. Bitcoin yield. I mean, it's okay. No, the thing is like it is the time to do it. You know what I mean? Like it is the time to do it. I mean, right now people want to give money to Bitcoin ventures, right? Like people are throwing money at the Bitcoin treasuries, right? And Mara actually produces something. I think they got zero yield on that, right? So yeah, it's interesting, right? Like I say, borrow as much as you can right now, and then grow it as much as you can while you can. And if you can depreciate the expenses, go for it too. Oh, it is so weird. Management's been doing okay. You know what I mean? Like they're keeping it alive. That's for sure. But I think they keep, yeah, I think they keep freaking, like they keep diluting, and people don't like it. And every time they dilute, price comes down. But it's money that's coming into the company, so that's okay. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they're not getting anything out of it, right? And the idea is that we give them money because they know what to do with it better than other people do. I don't. I don't. I'm not that crazy owner of no, I don't. I've heard of it. I have no idea what they do. I haven't done my research. Um, correct. Yeah, but I mean, if you're holding it for the long term and you truly believe in their business model, right? And they can actually generate what we're seeing, which is growth in revenues of 54%. Kind of is not bad. It's not bad. I mean, like, what's Nvidia's growth, right? Revenue. Like, I think it's not as good, and we're probably not gonna get as good, but revenue growth. Problem is like this quarter, so we go annual. Let's go. It's like we're expecting revenue growth of 55% next year, but that's gonna be definitely higher. Like that's gonna be way, way, way higher. And the beauty is like you see how we taper off, kind of. People are saying we don't taper off, right? So if we go to Mara here, right? Bam. We're expecting it to come down, which I disagree with. Yeah, it's the truth, right? But it's tied to the Bitcoin price, right? And then when they dilute, it just gets hurt. But yeah, yeah, it's poor timing. I mean, like if you're looking to make a quick buck, Mara, like if you're able to get the upside, right, you want to get out quickly, right? But I'm holding it for the long term. I believe in the stock. I like him. I like them. I like them. I like the business model. I like what they're doing. I like how they're doing it. I've mined Bitcoin and it makes sense. You know, I've mined Bitcoin and it makes sense what they're doing. They're probably doing it way better than me. They have the expertise to do so. They have the expertise to go into cloud, like into compute. So that's also something. Oh man. It's like how many analysts? Let's have a look. Forecast. It's like, bro, if it has like 5 analysts, I'll be surprised. Right now they have 10. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. They have 9 analysts right now paying attention to the stock. It's just nothing. Like I'm one of those analysts, probably. Probably not. You know, it's short. To come up. It's coming down. Ooh, coming down. It's 2 days. 1.4 days. You could get out of the stock. Shorts are coming down. What's Rocket doing? How did the rest do? Starbucks. Did they beat? Oh, it's up. 5% up. Starbucks at the close. I want to know what EA is doing. EA is flat. Visa a little bit lower. Yeah, PayPal had earnings what this morning? Man, I got burned with this stock. It was one of the first stocks I ever owned, and I got burned with them. And I I don't like their business model. I don't even use their product either. Right? Like they try to go into Bitcoin, like into cryptos. They didn't do a very good job. I don't know. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? Like streamers use it, right? And I used them for a while, but I don't use them anymore. Like they have so much competition in them. Could they do better? I'm sure. But again, I don't know. Down 8% today. Oof. And they beat too. Hilarious. We have, what do we have tomorrow? Tomorrow is such a fuck day. Yeah. So you need so much competition going on, right? So much competition in the sector. There's better places to put your money. Like I want to buy, I want to buy Revolut shares in a lot. I use them every single day. But well. Then we have Microsoft, Meta, Hood, Qualcomm. By the way, if you're interested and you want to look at my portfolio, first link in the description shows you what I'm holding publicly. Shows you my eToro portfolio, where I share all my trades, and you can copy me. Don't copy a random person on the internet. Make sure you do your own research. You can keep me accountable with whatever I'm buying. Alone. I'm interested in HUD tomorrow. It's gonna be super intriguing. Microsoft's doing really well. Qualcomm gonna be really good. ARM's gonna be really good. Meta, Microsoft. So there, that's I reckon this is why we're seeing the. Oh, um, man, I logged into. What is it? Tomorrow's gonna be a really interesting day. Like we have Nvidia with Microsoft and Meta, CapEx. Like if we get anything close to what Google did, I mean, Nvidia might just break the 180 tomorrow. If we don't get that, because Microsoft was saying that they're looking to spend, blah 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 blah. But Meta's gonna increase CapEx for sure, and then we're gonna have Hood trading. People are gonna be making money on this. Like even HUD is competing, eToro is competing, HUD is competing. All of them are right. Like in the payments provider sectors. I just don't know. Don't know. And we're getting to the day where you're gonna be able to buy whatever you want with your Nvidia stock, and you're not even gonna need dollars anymore. But yeah. Then we have Shell coming up tomorrow. I have a Shell position, so I hope they do good. I hold them in. I hold them in high regard. And the next day we have MicroStrategy, Amazon, Reddit, Apple, Coin, First Solar. This one is gonna be so interesting because we have to see what the solar industry is actually doing with a big beautiful bill. I think we're gonna see demand spike up. I could be so wrong. Good luck. Have they? Because there was a. Wow. Coinbase joined. Trade Desk joined. Wow. Is it? I don't know much about Square. I know that. There we go. So Block Inc. is an American technology company and a financial services provider. It's probably just, Yeah, yeah. Here. So they're joining and freaking Robinhood is not. That's hilarious. Because Robinhood is not in it, and one of the reasons I bought Robinhood and I stayed with it was because I was hoping that they joined the S&P 500. I'm still waiting for that boom. A couple more quarters of them having positive earnings, but to potentially get them in. I think they met the requirements to join last time, but they didn't. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see. Oh, Square? That's nice. That's very nice. It's good. Like right now, you're making like right now, many stocks. There's like money makers. Like I bought Nike. I'm making money with Nike. I'm making money with Bank of America. I'm up 50% on Bank of America. That's a lie. I'm 38.7% with Bank of America. 38% with Bank of America. I'm making money with Google. I'm growing that position quite heftily. I've gone into like leverage Google. I think I've heard it before. It's the number of times. It's like 5 times before we see a collapse. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I've heard it. Makes sense. If it's working, keep using it. Wow. You know what I mean? Keep going. Again, don't listen to just some random guy on the internet. I don't know. I don't know your your risk tolerance, etc., etc. So Mara just recuperated the loss. But the thing is, just like it's so busy. It's so busy. There's so much stuff around it. Just Microsoft tomorrow. That's why I think we saw the drop in Nvidia today. Just saw money to like tigers. Meta is going to be very interesting. Apple's going to be interesting. On Microsoft, just don't freaking don't trust. Just I don't trust them. Do I want to stay for the call? If I want to watch it, with AI nowadays, I can just. Oh man, there's 19 people watching us. Really? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Why is there 19 people? It's Mara earnings. People are really interesting about the Mara earnings. Like my most watched stream is the Mara earning. You know, like it has such a loyal fan base. That is so true. Yeah, that is crazy. Mara, I think so. You know what I mean? I prefer it. Is the truth. Is the truth. And that's okay too. You know what I mean? That's okay too. Not a bad thing, I find. Nice. Well, you're making money, which is good. Caspa, what do you want to know about Caspa? Caspa is the learning model. Yeah, it's late. No, the learning model. Isn't it the mining model? I don't even know. It's late. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I've heard of this. We're going deep. Is it this? Is this? How do you mean? Hmm. So when you start going into crypto stuff, man, it's just have a look at it. Oh, you're doing good then. Nice. 100x, not bad. Happy times, happy times. Casper. Nice. Very, very interesting. And when I start going into the crypto stuff, I just like it takes so much time to research, so much time to analyze. It's like you have to do more research than a stock, and I don't know if you can trust the data. That's the problem I have with crypto. I hold cryptos, but I trust Mimi. I trust Mimi more than I trust myself because I know she does the work. And I'm willing to throw money at it. If she says buy it, I buy it. You know what I mean? But it's like, man, yeah, it's hard, right? Like Bitcoin stuff, sure. I mean, like it's the U.S. government. You know what I mean? Like Ethereum, okay. Like it's already like a well set up ecosystem. XRP, also BNB, also even BNB. There, it's like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of trust, but also like, like so. Michael Anthony, are we talking about Mara here? Yeah, Mara did. We're about to go. A little, I would say. This is something I have to pay attention to. You have 5 billion? Nice. Where am I? Oh, okay, man. I was okay. All right. I was gonna be like, why did I miss this? Okay, okay, okay. We're talking about a whole different company. Okay, 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 okay. Woof. Freaking, I hate Tron. I hate Tron. I don't like it. I don't. I hate it. I don't like it. Let's have a look. Novo Nordisk. I just wow. Ooh, that hurt. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. That's the What's their drug? The fat drug, right? Massive volume. That sucks, dude. Nobody's shorting the stock. Interesting. $100 billion worth company. Okay. Ozempic, yes. Yeah. Nobody's shorting the stock. Institutions own 9%. Insiders own 0. Ah, it's trustworthy. Interesting. Earnings per share has been rising. Sales is rising. Also, the new CEO appointment. Interesting. I just stay away. You know what I mean? The problem, it's the problem that I have with. It's the problem that I have with like pharmaceuticals. Like my sister loves pharmaceuticals. She was like back in the day when she started investing. She went all in into pharmaceuticals, trying to figure out, okay, like who's gonna get approval, who's gonna get this thing, and then she couldn't figure it out, and then she gave up, and then she just copied me. You know what I mean? And now I'm making her money. This is like it's so difficult too with pharmaceuticals. Like it's if you have like if you can sort of predict and kind of like have an understanding, but I just don't. I don't. You know, I'm like it's. By the way, if the microphone messes up, just let me know. But yeah, you know, like when this company went up, because I know that I remember this company going nuts back in the day, but I just didn't understand it, so I'd rather stay away from it. You know, like I understand chips. You know what I mean? Pharma is interesting. It's always, you know. But then look, I'm sitting in UNH and I'm still. What's the buyer? Are no, may not right. Or are they in America? Biotech right here. Yeah, that's why. That's why I can't see it. This is like American data. Um, hello, good sir. Yo, really good earnings for tomorrow. Should rally tomorrow if we get some coolness into the market. Yes, correct. I know them. I know them. I know Bayern. No Bayern. I know them. I know them. They're like super. Like they are their brand. You know what I mean? They are their brand. So they beat on earnings and they beat on earnings per share. They have over 50,000 bitcoins. They're the second biggest holder. We have the call. I'll stay for the call. Fuck it. Powell speaks tomorrow. We have PCE data. We have jobs data. We have ADP data tomorrow. We have Microsoft. We have Meta. We have like I don't think we understand like Microsoft, Meta, Robinhood, Qualcomm, ARM, right? Like so much data. We have jobs data tomorrow. Like we have so many things. What was I gonna do? Man, oh, Mara. Okay. We have. Let's have a look. All right, let me look into this thing. But yeah, look at this. Like just high data, like points. We have FOMC tomorrow, interest rate decision tomorrow. We are hoping that Powell tells us. We're hoping that Powell tells us. Starbucks miss. Okay, we're hoping that Powell signals that he's going to do a cut for September. The U.S. interest rate decision is flat. We know what's going to happen. This is just going to be about what Powell signals here. Um, we have GDP. We have unemployment. We have a ADP employment change. We have Eurozone GDP tomorrow. We have then on the next day we have PCE data, which I'm sure Powell's going to see. We have consumer spending. It's so much data, dude. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, eBay, Meta, Ford, Qualcomm. Like it's just so tight with data this week. The Michigan sentiment, we have unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls, like Eurozone CPI. So we get an idea on so many things. Like this is data week. Thank you, thank you. It's always Mara earnings. Mara earnings go nuts. I've had like 1,000 people watching Mara earnings. You know? Oh, give me a second. Hello, hello, hello.
Comparable gap measure.
There we
We
go.
hope you've had the chance to read our shareholder letter. Forward to your feedback. We'll begin with some prepared remarks from Fred and Salman. Their comments, we're going to be conducting an analyst management. Today's session will be conducted by Chris Bredler, analyst at Flat Security. That out of the way, I'm going to turn the call over to Fred to kick. Fred?
Good afternoon. How you look? Record breaking
It was
highs in revenue, adjusted
massive growth.
energized hash rate, blocks per beyond performance, under scaling low cost, flexible load data, exploring international opportunities, funds and sovereign quarter, support of our strategy to support the load balance, announced partnership, Power Solutions, backed by Google, Auto by L. Together, we're co-developing responsive balancing platform. Rise our energy across broad.
He has been
Part
selling.
of our low-cost and needed construction of
Nothing major.
behind our wind-powered. This gives us access to low-cost power.
Can you guys hear okay?
Our margins. Subsequent to quarter end, our holdings milestone that solidifies margin. More importantly, the Treasury will help through development, build operation. And while some people don't consider ourselves, we're in builders and operators. Actively managing our Bitcoin holdings to create long-term value for shareholders. Bitcoin remains our reserve. We will continue to build on our holdings, whether through production or opportunity purchases, depending on market conditions. To that end, we made a minority investment in 2Prime, digital asset management firm specializing in optimized yield strategy. We've been managing a portion of our holdings. We will continue to make prudent decisions around allocation, risk exposure based on broader macro and market conditions. Regarding the current price of Bitcoin, our view is that things feel a little frothy. While there is
Wow.
persistent demand for Bitcoin, this is balanced by an ample supply owing to long-term holders taking profits from Bitcoin held in some cases earliest years of Bitcoin. Supply is currently being absorbed relatively well. If the buying demand were to subside, we could see downward pressure as sellers attempt to lock in gains at these high price points. With our recent convertible notes offering, we have significantly bolstered our balance sheet to have the flexibility to act across a range of strategic priorities, including opportunistic Bitcoin purchase, debt repurchase, M&A, and general corporate purpose. Whether Bitcoin goes up or Bitcoin goes down, we believe we are positioning MARA at the forefront of what's increasingly recognized digital energy, or the use of technologies and data to make energy systems efficient, reliable, and sustainable. This strategic focus enables us to capture value at the intersection of compute and energy, convergence that will define next generation infrastructure. We're exploring ways to design infrastructure for hybrid workloads like AI inference, to rapidly emerging as the dominant workload in AI infrastructure. Another area that we believe will drive value is sovereign edge, allowing enterprises and public sector customers to have jurisdictional and operational control for data, compute, and AI outputs. We see growing demand for compute infrastructure that is geographically sovereign, energy aligned, secure by design. We believe the addressable market is accelerating, particularly in Europe and emerging markets, where data sovereignty, energy efficiency are critical factors in purchasing. Our intent is to extend MARA's vertically integrated compute platform into edge environments that meet the needs of latency-sensitive, compliance-driven, and workload-diverse users. In this regard, we are working closely with government officials, major energy partners, to extend our reach into global markets. As part of this effort, these efforts, we've been laying the groundwork for a regional headquarters in Saudi Arabia and established an entity in France as a European headquarters. We believe this approach will provide us access to low-cost energy by partnering with energy companies, infrastructure capital providers to lower our capital. Through these efforts, we built a global growth pipeline exceeding 3 gigawatts, positioning us to scale efficiently across key markets. When you put it all together, as inference increasingly becomes the dominant cost center in AI, control over geography, latency, energy costs becomes a. We'll continue to invest here to ensure MARA is well positioned to. We're excited to host our first ever Investor Day this fall. The inaugural event will offer a deep dive into our long-term roadmap, insights into how we are activating our digital energy strategies across
This is
mining,
good.
infrastructure, and AI. Join us, please reach out to our investor relations. To wrap up, Q2 was a milestone quarter.
Yeah.
We grew our treasury, expanded our infrastructure, and proved once again that MARA is far more than a Bitcoin mining company. We are the category leader in Bitcoin mining. But our value lies in the infrastructure that underpins it, infrastructure that we're now leveraging to shape the
I
future.
wanted to know about the Google
Thank you
partnership.
for your continued support as we build what is next. Now I'll turn it over to Salman for additional insights on the quarter.
Thank you, Fred. In Q2, we delivered record financial driven by strong execution and improved Bitcoin. Over the past year, we've been laser focused on shareholder interests with Bitcoin. In Q2 of 2020 and Q2, our Bitcoin holdings surged by going from approximately 1,500 BTC nearly 50,000. During the same period, our energized hash rate expanded by from 31.5 exahash per second to 7. And the market value of our Bitcoin holdings in more than $1 billion. Or
I know how hard microphones are.
let me provide some broke some. Revenues increased 64%, 38.5%. Excuse me. Revenues increased 64%, $150.5 million from 145.9. The second quarter of was the highest revenue quarter in the increase was primarily driven by a 50% increase in average Bitcoin, 77 million. We produced average of 25 point compared to 22.9 BTC in Q4, which resulted in 300 more BTC. Furthermore, we saw a 50 of blocks second quarter. May 2025 was the we reported net income of $808 million, $1.84 the quarter compared to a net loss of $197 million, 72 second quarter. We recorded a $1.2 billion during the second quarter of. This reflects the impact of Bitcoin holdings. Now let's turn to cost structure. Our purchased energy cost per Bitcoin for the quarter was $33,735, which we believe is among the lowest in the. Our daily cost per petahash per day improved 4%. This improvement reflects our main fleet owned and operated. Now account for approximately 70% of our total hash. That transition to dividends both up. Now let me talk about our Bitcoin holdings. And Mara is the second largest corporate public holder of Bitcoin. Generate returns on our holdings as Bitcoin price appreciates. Our dedicated Bitcoin team made up of professionals with decades of experience in funds, so actively risk-adjusted.
You can't hear it?
Generate cash flows that support our operations. We deploy Bitcoin across a diversified portfolio of investing, lending, trading, structured arrangements, stock increments. Our approach combines the potential for long-term Bitcoin appreciation, disciplined efforts to generate return while managing risk. To a lesser extent, we have also used Bitcoin as a collateral to borrow underlying credit. Let me dive down a little. During the quarter, we entered in separately managed account or SMA agreement, which is an external full-service registered advisor, and transferred 5.
Wait a second, that's my
As
bad.
of June 30th, 2025. Liquidity with short-term notice following an initial one-year lockup. In addition, our Bitcoin asset management team may from time to time engage in various Bitcoin denominated to generate additional returns on our Bitcoin holdings.
Yeah.
I want to highlight that subsequent to
That should be
quarter
better.
end, we issued $950 million of 0%
Yeah, next time just let me
convertible
know.
senior
My
notes
bad.
due 2032. With this upsized convertible notes offering, we have significantly bolstered our balance sheet. This additional liquidity gives us the flexibility to act strategically. whether by acquiring more Bitcoin, funding M&A, or repaying debt. Its purpose is not to fund day-to-day operations. We're under no pressure to deploy capital immediately. Instead, we're positioned to act in response to market conditions in order to maximize long-term shareholder value. We are different from other BTC treasury companies, as Fred mentioned. As a core business our core business is Bitcoin mining and large-scale data center operations, even as we hold the second largest Bitcoin worldwide amongst public companies. Looking ahead, that sets us apart. Looking ahead, what sets us apart is our thought leadership, worldwide operational scale, and capital and operational efficiency. As of June 30th, 2025, we held over $5 billion in liquid assets, and with approximately $1 billion raised since, gives us flexibility to fund domestic growth and pursue international expansion. Unlike passive treasury companies, we treat our Bitcoin as a productive, risk-managed asset. Through a disciplined asset management strategy, our holdings strengthen the balance sheet and help fund operations which we believe will enhance long-term shareholder value. We don't just hold Bitcoin, we put it to work. Finally, we remain on track to reach our 75 exahash goal by end of the year, with all miners secured and funded except for $150 million that we expect to pay in the second half. We are laying the groundwork for 2026 and beyond. We're executing on a pipeline of energy infrastructure projects, both in the US and internationally. And we expect these investments to expand our capabilities while costs continue to be low. With that, I'll turn over to Chris Brendler from Rosenblatt Securities to begin our management interview. Chris?
Hey, thanks, Salman, and thanks so much for inviting me to this. This is super exciting to be able to dig through the results with you guys, and also to sort of get an update on the strategy. A lot going on in Bitcoin and crypto these days. So I guess I wanted to start with the mining business, the core mining business, and maybe for Fred, just sort of give me an update on so the current thinking around mining versus HPC. We've seen a lot of competitors increasingly look to move their power assets towards high performance compute, and potentially could sort of see a slowing of Bitcoin mining competition. But at the same time, I think the network hash rate is reaching new highs again, even though we're in the middle of a pretty hot summer. So would love to hear your sort of 10,000-foot view on the Bitcoin mining business as it stands today.
I think, thank you, Chris, for joining us today. I think as you look at the marketplace today, there's a shift occurring. You have companies who previously were kind of in the mid-tier of Bitcoin mining, who have been working on a transition to HPC, trying to leverage their energy assets. And you've been seeing really a couple of things happen. For one thing is not many of them have been able to secure contracts with hyperscalers, and some of them have moved towards essentially trying to go out and get customers, enterprise customers directly, who will host with them or leverage their capacity. We personally think that business is over time going to be very price competitive, and margins are going to compress because in most cases, Bitcoin miners are really just providing power. And if they are building buildings and making the investments, which according to some analysts can be as high as millions and millions of dollars per megawatt, well over $10 million a megawatt, it's going to be hard for them to acquire customers. Many enterprise customers want to work with people who have hosted enterprise customers before and understand how to run those types of data centers, and most Bitcoin miners don't. So you still haven't seen really any large number of these companies transition successfully HPC outside of a handful. At the same time, you're seeing new entrants come into this market. You have Tether coming in. You have Bitmain, the single largest hardware vendor, effectively taking control of a company called Kango, transferring hash rate to that company, and becoming the number 3, 4, or 5 largest Bitcoin miner in direct competition with their customers. Tether themselves have stated a goal that they want to be the largest Bitcoin miner in the world. So you're seeing a whole new entrant of people coming into this marketplace and some people leaving the market. We remain very focused on being a Bitcoin miner, but we're also very focused on looking at where you have the convergence of inference AI and the needs of enterprises, especially around sovereign data. And we believe this is a unique area where we're positioned to be quite successful in the long term. And that's why we've been focusing our efforts in developing relationships with sovereigns, with governments, with energy companies in regions where we think there's going to be a huge amount of investment that we can take advantage of to help grow our business along those lines, while at the same time continue to grow our Bitcoin mining business. As we mentioned on the call, we have a pipeline of 3 gigawatts plus of power, and we intend to continue to grow at a very fast rate, while also growing our business around sovereign data.
That's very helpful. I guess I'm going to drill down a little bit on the sovereign topic. You mentioned in your prepared remarks the potential for headquarters in Saudi Arabia as well as France, and sort of mentioning that, or highlighting the fact that location was important when it comes to inference. Does that suggest that you potentially will enter this business directly, or it seems like more likely you would do it through partnerships, is what I'm guessing?
Exactly. The focus here is through partnerships with energy companies. Some of people on this call may recall that 4 years ago at Mining Disrupt, I did a presentation that most people found a little startling, which was I basically said that Bitcoin miners will either have to become partners with energy companies or energy companies will take over their businesses. And I believe that unless you as a Bitcoin miner own your own energy generation, you have to become a partner with the energy company, not a customer of the energy company. And so if you look at some of these regions, Europe, Gulf region, for example, you have very top-down driven energy companies who are typically government-owned or government-run or have a substantial percentage of ownership by government. And you have to partner with the government, partner with the companies. And in these regions, there is a big demand for sovereign data and AI because the enterprises in those regions do not want to have their data in clouds that are either owned and operated by the US or the Chinese or people outside of their regions. And so they want that data residing in their countries, within their borders, in close proximity to their enterprises. And we believe that partnership of working with government and sovereign-controlled energy companies and operating data centers within their borders to provide them with sovereignty over data and AI is a combination of factors that could make us very successful.
Makes sense. Is this would this be similar to the experience and the success you've had at where it's a joint venture, or are you envisioning a different type of partnership when you think about these kind of relationships?
That's great that you mentioned the UAE. So when we did that transaction, that was very focused on Bitcoin mining and remains one of the most successful Bitcoin mining data centers that we built from a perspective of uptime and operations. It's an amazing site and is clearly still one of the leading immersion Bitcoin mining data centers in the world. That taught us a lot about working with sovereigns, especially in that region. It taught us what the right type of partnerships are and how to structure those partnerships. And what you'll see going forward is something a little bit different, where you see the energy companies being more involved in the deal, and also where you see us having a greater degree of control over the terms and the relationships.
Great. Okay. I do remember that that presentation you gave 4 years ago. That was pretty prescient for sure, and definitely was surprising to think that energy companies would be directly working in the Bitcoin mining space, but that seems a lot more likely today, for sure. Speaking of Bitcoin mining, I wanted to ask a question. When it comes to acquiring power assets, and it seems like Mara's own path has slowed a little bit just in terms of growth. I feel like based on the conversations and the pipeline you disclosed just now, there's a lot going on. And is that because you're trying to balance your needs with your investment, or is it increasing competition from hyperscalers that is impacting the queue for power assets?
Well, we wouldn't have a pipeline of 3 gigawatts if we were competing with
Depends,
hyperscalers tooth and nail for power assets. We made a fairly concerted decision.
I'll tell you in a bit.
To focus on growing with the right types of assets versus just growing at any price. Growth at any price can be dangerous. In a market where Bitcoin price is running high and where hash rate is remaining relatively stable because of constraints of either capital or compute or capacity, you can afford to grow in network attached mode. And if you recall, we started as an asset-light company. The reason we were successful in growing to be the largest Bitcoin miner in the world in asset-light strategy was there were enough constraints in the market that you could grow most rapidly by controlling compute because there was ample capacity and there was ample access to capital, the 3 C's that constrain our business. Today, it's different. Today, if you are looking at using grid-attached energy at an average price of anywhere from 4.5 to 5 cents a kilowatt hour, you are forced to replace your machines every 3 years, which is a significant capital cost. And as you start looking at a halving in 2028 and another one after that in 2032, you really have to look at controlling your energy assets or being a partner with energy companies where they can contribute energy and you contribute compute. That's the only way companies will be successful in the long run in this business. And so we've been very focused on executing the strategy of partnerships and controlling energy assets. And yes, it takes a while to get that started, and we've spent a lot of time this year.
I've only held for a year
on getting that process started.
I like to trade
initiated, and we've built the pipeline.
I have
now.
fun
We've
trading
built the relationships.
I bought some options into
this. Start to begin to execute. And I think this will feed our growth over the next 2 to 3 years quite significantly.
Excellent. And don't want to get sort of breaking sort of undisclosed ground here, but is it safe to assume that maybe the majority of that 3 gigawatt pipeline is outside the United States?
That would be undisclosed. So I think you can reference, what we've said before, that by 2028, about 50% of our revenue would come from international, and we're still focused on that.
Perfect. We'll have to stay tuned. I wanted to ask one more question on the Bitcoin mining business before moving on, which was actually maybe 2 more, which was, I don't know where the industry stands from a hydro cooling perspective. Feels like it's relatively new technology for large scale miners. What are your current on the S23 from Bitmain or similar models and pivoting to hydro cooling?
Yeah, I think early generations of hydro cooling had lots of challenges: leaky pipes, large consumption of water, which is a no-no in many places. And a lot of just glitches. I think Bitmain has most probably figured out how to do this more effectively now. I think the other difference is the form factor for the hydro has changed. They're now doing proper 2U rack mount devices, which means you can start using similar infrastructure for Bitcoin mining as AI, which as we've been talking all along, is what we view the future as being a mix of AI and Bitcoin mining in the same data centers. We in UAE, for example, chose immersion technology because at the time hydro wasn't significantly developed in a way that was reliable to operate in those regions. Today, I think you can go either way. You can continue to go immersion or hydro. I think what's going to be very interesting in the future, and one of the things we've learned with our two-pick technology, is there is this very interesting middle ground around cold plate technology that potentially is the ideal transition, which is slightly different than liquid on chip, which is how the hydro works. So I think we have yet another evolution to go through in this market before the world moves to the need to go to full immersion on AI. The heat densities in the next couple of generations will start getting to a point where you're going to have to go to full immersion. But today you can still make it with liquid on chip and eventually cold plate technology there.
Okay, makes sense. I would like to talk about the Bitcoin mining in the quarter for a second. One of the things that analysts have to realize is that these things could ebb and flow, and there is some randomness to Bitcoin mining operations, and sometimes you have good months and bad months. And this quarter in particular, the market share kind of bounced around quite a bit between April and May was fantastic, and then it came back down in June. Was there any sort of structural uptime or downtime or curtailment that have impacted those numbers significantly, or is it just total randomness?
I think you can look at the year and look at seasonality. We have a large amount of our production in Texas. As you get into June, you start getting into warmer months and curtailment starts happening. There are also things like certain maintenance cycles and other things that can impact any given site from time to time. Definitely May was an amazing month where we benefited from the randomness very well. But generally we have found that when we look at to what extent luck, as it's called in our industry, impacts us, we have over quite a long period had minor degree of quite positive luck. But that being said, as you get into the summer months, you just have to expect a greater percentage of curtailment if you're operating in states where that's a requirement, which it is in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay. So that sort of big picture question I'd love to get your current thoughts on, and you mentioned already in your prepared remarks, was the Bitcoin treasury strategy companies and their success, and sort of this frothiness that we're seeing to be in with companies can not only announce a Bitcoin treasury strategy, but other tokens and crypto assets are now getting lots of investor attention. I think there's certainly a narrative here that Marathon is different, or Mara is different. So I'd love to get your current thoughts on
they changed their
Bitcoin
name
treasury and how we should see that difference play out in market values over time between Mara and some of the competitors.
I'm not sure who to attribute this quote to, but somebody at a recent event that I was at basically said Bitcoin treasury companies are the new ICOs. If you go back to kind of 2017, as you said, Bitcoin treasury companies, you can basically say you're going to put whatever coin it is into a treasury company, raise money for it, and get investors. There's even one for BNB coin that was announced recently. So I think there's a lot of money going at these things. I think a number of analysts and reporters have written about the fact that Strategy has done an amazing job of creating this space. Kudos to Michael and his team for what they've done there.
Gotta do it though.
But any advantage in any market starts disappearing when you have lots of companies going after it. I think it was earlier this week, somebody published $82 billion has been raised for Bitcoin treasury companies that are going to hit the market, crypto treasury companies writ large across all the different coins. And, they can't all be successful. And what happens to those companies that are holding coins when their MNAV goes to 1, or worst case, like what happened to Grayscale during a period, the MNAV goes negative? They likely will have to sell those coins. So my concern and my think the concern of many people regarding the frothiness in the market today is you have a lot of people buying Bitcoin with other people's money. And if Bitcoin, especially for the newer treasury companies, sees a decline, they may be challenged. And people may sell them the stock to get their money out. Realize that, Bitcoin treasury companies are not like an ETF. What people have to do to try and save their money is sell the stock in those companies. And I think with as many companies doing this as there are,
that's interesting.
A certain percentage of them will likely fail. And that will negatively impact the price of Bitcoin. We've had wallets from 2011, I think this wallet that Galaxy recently traded, $9 billion for 80,000 coins, I think it was. People are selling at the peak. When the whales that have been holding are selling, it tells you something. Historically, whales always sell leading into the peak. They sell into the top in the market. And every Bitcoin, 98% of all Bitcoin are in profit today. And the people who are buying and looking to build treasury companies are buying at the absolute top of the market. And at some point, demand will waver. And you have to remember that Bitcoin, from an institutional perspective, still is a risk asset. It typically, while follows M2 on the asset side, liquidity, it also correlates inversely to the dollar. And the equity markets, it's quite correlated at times. And so I think if we see a deterioration in the economy, if we see deterioration in the equity markets, and we start seeing an improvement in the dollar, you may have an environment where Bitcoin could see a drop. And
I'm scared of the
80%, but it could drop 20%, 30%. Great buying opportunity for many. But you've, again, got a lot of people who have been holding on for the right time to sell. And if you see any momentum to the downside, you may see a lot of selling, which will just accelerate things. So I think you have to be prudent. And it's important.
I agree. You want to see something interesting?
Treasury companies are, again, a bit like ICOs, and I think that too much of a good thing ruins the returns for everybody. So I would expect you'd start seeing the MNAV on these things to eventually just hit 1. And at that point, you're better off holding spot.
Yeah, makes sense. How do you view the Mara stack differently? I mean, it's gotten very large now. It's over 50,000 coin, well over $5 billion, and I think it's not really sort of tagged for growth purposes. I think it's been pretty clear this is a longer term investment. But do you foresee sort of building forever, or is there a point where you would think about potentially selling some of your Bitcoin, just given how large it's becoming relative to your market cap?
I think there's unlike some treasury companies, there's always a point at which we would sell some Bitcoin.
Market data connection.
There may be a point where, for example, the
market data
appreciation of Bitcoin and the volatility of Bitcoin decreases to the point where it operates more like gold, for example, at which case the cost of us, for the company, of holding Bitcoin can be such that our average weight of capital to run the business by leveraging equity could become too prohibitive, and it would make sense for us to, like we did in 2023, sell Bitcoin from production to pay for operating expenses. That's
market
always
data
an option.
Connection lost.
We are a Bitcoin company. We believe in Bitcoin for the long term, and as long
market
as Bitcoin
data connection
continues to perform, we have to do what's right for our shareholders, which as fiduciaries is leverage Bitcoin while it continues to perform, and if need be, sell Bitcoin.
Makes sense. There was some good commentary, I think it was more on some on-side about
24, 25 could be the top of that range.
The Bitcoin treasury and yield strategies, 2 prime. Maybe give us an update on the thinking around 2 prime and how large, how much of your Bitcoin stack are you willing to try to monetize? And
we're breaking off it.
Active management include hedging strategies? And I know there was a collar strategy in the past. Is that something that's on the table if you think that it's a little extended, or are you still more focused on yield and actual hedging?
Say T1.
I'll throw that to Salman.
Chris,
35,
when you think about our
T2,
Bitcoin
50,
treasury,
33,
as you mentioned, 50,000 stack of coin sitting on our balance sheet, we are looking at not just capital appreciation from a long-term perspective as a treasury asset, but also we want to create a yield and earn cash flows from that.
I'm just a random guy on the
Bitcoin
internet, so don't pay attention to what I do.
It continues to appreciate over a longer duration of time. So it's a 2-pronged approach, and it's a financial decision. As Fred mentioned, we are a Bitcoin mining company, and we produce Bitcoin on a day-to-day basis. Unlike treasury companies who have to go and buy Bitcoin from the open market, we don't have to do that. As we alluded to, we can produce it cheaper than going out and buying Bitcoin.
It costs them $33,000.
To produce. This industry is much newer than other industries. This is just the beginning, and we have tested multiple investment strategies over the last 2 years by testing the market, testing different partners, and placing Bitcoin with parties that we trust, and we have verified their credibility from a delivery standpoint. And as a result of that evolution, now we have about a little bit shy of 1/3 of our Bitcoin that is activated, as we call it, in the active Bitcoin asset management strategy. With that, it includes, I would say hedging is, when you say hedging, typically people think hedge means that we're trying to protect from the price risk. That's not the objective. The objective is to create cash flows. So that could have covered calls, that could have multiple trading strategies where we either in-house or through our investment and partnership with 2 Prime, we go out and we squeeze value out of the Bitcoin. As I mentioned in the prepared remarks, within a very short period of 1.5 months, from 500 Bitcoin, we were able to produce 4 Bitcoin. And look, it's the infancy stage, newer industry, but we're testing these different strategies successfully. And the plan would be, as we test the waters, we continue to expand from here, step-by-step basis, while keeping in mind the fiduciary responsibility that we have with the stack on our balance sheet that our stockholders own by being stockholders in the company.
That's fantastic, Salman. Thank you. Fred, I want to go back to sort of the higher, bigger picture stuff and think about diversification beyond Bitcoin mining. I think that was a push at one time to try to diversify the top line and be less reliant on the ebbs and flows of the mining business. Where do you stand today on diversifying the business? And is Bitcoin treasury yield strategies part of that diversification?
I mean, Bitcoin treasury yield is a way to generate yield off of an asset that we have. It's kind of like you think of old money. What does old money do? They buy real estate and then they live off the yield of the real estate. If we have enough Bitcoin and can generate a yield off of it that it covers a good portion of our operating expenses, then that takes pressure off of the other businesses so that we can continue to invest in diversifying revenues. So we are focused on investing significantly in growing our business around sovereign data and inference AI. As we come to a point where we're launching things and announcing things, it'll become quite clear. But for the moment, I'll just leave it to say that we're very focused on building the next leg of Mara, so that for the future we can leverage these great assets that we have, continue to grow them, and gain synergies from them as we also add additional revenue streams.
You broke
that let
through
us
the
leverage
range.
some of the benefits of those assets going forward, well beyond the period we're having reduced Bitcoin rewards to much lower levels.
Interesting.
I'd imagine that would include, sort of align with your international expansion goals as well as you sort of expand beyond the core U.S. mining movements.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, one last quick one for
Chris, just to add to that, Chris, the diversification of revenues. There are two ways of unlocking value. One is diversification of revenues, and the other way is to reduce cost. Just a quick reminder for our listeners today that Mara started with asset-light strategy years ago, and we grew very quickly over the years. And last year, we pivoted towards asset-heavy strategy, where we exited the year with 70% owned and operated. The result of that was that we reduced our electricity cost per coin in our own mining operations to one of the lowest in the sector. Now, we still have a portion of our business that is tied to asset-light strategy from our historical contracts, and there's opportunity to reduce costs over time as those contracts expire. And as Fred had alluded to last time, and we've talked about low-cost strategies, the diversification doesn't stop there. We also went out and bought a wind farm that we just
funny because we would have done better by holding Bitcoin.
Remarks a few moments ago. Those wind farms, just to pause on that or double click on it, in a traditional Bitcoin mining operation with grid connected, compare that to the wind farm, intermittent power, but just consumes power when the electricity is close to low cost electricity. Marginal cost is almost zero. At that point in time, your all-in cash operating costs of a traditional Bitcoin miner versus a wind farm is about 75 to 85% lower than a traditional Bitcoin mining operations. So when we talk about diversification, it's not just diversification of revenues, but also the sources of power and the way we generate Bitcoin. And in future, it could be, depending on what is the best use of those. I wanted to highlight that important fact that diversification continues to happen at Mara, and our shareholders will get to see those benefits over a longer duration of time, as we are the only large-scale miner where we have opportunity to further reduce costs with these third-party contracts expiring.
Yeah, that's a great point. That the improvement in cost has been phenomenal and really helped improve the gross margins and for the leadership position from a profitability standpoint. The quick question I had to follow up of someone was from a CapEx perspective. How much of the 75 exahash year end target has been already funded as of this quarter?
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, almost all of it is funded except for $150 million in miner capital. There will be additional electron-related capital that may be added to it to get to the 75 exahash, but our eyes are laser focused to the 75 exahash, as we had publicly disclosed a few weeks ago, and we're excited about that.
Great. Well, again, thank you so much for all the time and the answers here. Pretty exciting stuff, and look forward to hearing the future announcements on your growth plans. Thanks so much. I'll turn it back over to Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We're now going to take just a few questions from our retail shareholders. And the first one I'm going to address to you, Salman, and it's one that we get asked quite often, is can you talk a little bit more about Mara's cost to mine per Bitcoin?
What are we doing this?
Talk
about Google, God damn it.
And I want to address it point blank. It's when you think about our financials, you have to think about the evolution of the company. As I had alluded to earlier, we were asset-light strategy company. We grew very quickly, but as a result of that, our costs were higher compared to some of the other peer group companies. We, as a strategic decision, last year made the decision to move towards asset-heavy strategy or vertically integrated model where we own and operate our own sites. We paid cents to the dollar to acquire those sites compared to the market price and also the build multiple, and 50% than the build multiple. And now we're operating those sites. As a result of that, our electricity cost per coin is one of the lowest in the sector. And when you think about Bitcoin mining and Mara, Bitcoin mining is in our DNA, but we are also focused on other initiatives that, as Fred has alluded to. So we also own and operate our mining pool. We have our own firmware. We also are investing in R&D. That is the future of the business and diversification of the revenues that Fred mentioned around AI. And those costs, it's not fair to compare the total cost of the company on a coin basis, because that cost is not attributable to the coin. So if I have to do the math and look at our asset light and asset heavy combination of cost of revenue, cash costs, and look at our Bitcoin produced quarter, it hovers around $50,000 per coin, and that is still more than 50% cheaper than buying in the open market. Now, with time, as I had said earlier, we expect these costs to further improve as our third-party mining operations that are more expensive than own and operated mining operations will expire over a period of time. And as we exit those contracts and continue to build on the low-cost strategy with the wind farms and the NGON, which we plan to expand further, oil and gas operations, where we consume natural gas that was being emitted into the air, and we reduce the harmful gases by consuming that and put those electrons to use. Those costs are cents to the dollar compared to a traditional mining operations. And with a combination of those things, our focus, our expectation would be that over time, our costs are going to continue to be going down from here as we expand.
Great. And then the second question is for Fred. How will the signing of the Genius Act affect Mara's path to Bitcoin mining?
There we go.
So
that's a good question. Finally, God damn it.
Opens the floodgates to stable coins being integrated with the TradFi system. For example,
the Genius
today
Act
we
is not the very beautiful bill.
Announced that Fiserv and FIS are going to integrate Circle into their payment system. And you're seeing the credit card companies developing stable coins. You're seeing banks developing stable coins. What happens when you have stable coins is you now have liquidity that can flow 24/7, 365. For people today wanting to buy Bitcoin, they have to move money from a bank account onto an exchange during banking hours, which means the predominant volume of Bitcoin that trades typically happens
during banking
hours, 9 to 5. With stable coins, people can hold value in a digital currency that's the equivalent of $1, so it doesn't have the volatility of something like Bitcoin, for example. And they can move on a moment's notice, transfer to an exchange, and trade right away. What that does is likely creates a greater incentive for people to trade 24/7. Now, there are many traders who take advantage of the lower volumes of trading that happens during nighttime cycles, depending on the market you're in, because there's lower volume, which means that if you have, if you're placing orders at different price points, you can potentially move the market a little easier. But with stable coins, I think what's going to happen is more liquidity will flow into Bitcoin. You've also seen things like Ray Dalio now say that you should have 15% of your assets in gold and Bitcoin. So I think with stable coins, essentially liquidity will flow. And when liquidity flows, people will move that liquidity into whatever asset they think is the best performing place to hold it. The stable coins will increase the ability for people and especially institutions to potentially allocate greater amounts of capital to things like Bitcoin. And so I think it only bodes well.
Terrific. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. If you have questions that were not answered during today's call, please feel free to contact our investor relations team at ir@mara.com. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of the day.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let me do a quick summary of whatever we heard in the call. We heard a lot of mumbo jumbo, and the big problem with Mara earnings is that we don't get the questions that we want to ask. For example, I probably will. Send them an email. I can, in all honesty. You know what? I might. I might, because I have a question here, right? Like, one of the things that they brought up in the earnings was this, right? Bam. What are we talking about? Right? Like, how are you working with Google? How are you working with LG? You know? Talk about that. Bring it up. Right? Let me know. Let people know. So, yeah. What happened in the Mara earnings, they had amazing results. They beat on earnings per share and they beat on revenue. This was expected because Mara gives you the results on a month-to-month basis of how much money, how much Bitcoin they have mined. They are the second biggest holder of Bitcoin. Amazing. And the stock so far is kind of muted, sitting at 1725. We are higher, about almost 7% higher, which is a massive jump. Don't get me wrong, nothing to scoff at. But the stock continues to be, in my opinion, a bit undervalued. Again, the Bitcoin volatility doesn't allow for the pricing of Mara to come. I think they have 100 million in cash, and they have a ton of debt. Like I know they have a ton of debt because they've been diluting a lot. They have a bunch of convertible notes. So this, based on market cap and enterprise value, it's probably around $2 billion, give or take, in debt. I could look at the numbers, but that's the interesting thing. So they had amazing earnings, but not many people are paying attention to the stock right now, right? In its heyday, when Mara was at all-time highs, I think my live stream peaked at over 300, 400 people. Right now, there's 20 of us watching, which is still a lot. Thank you for watching. You guys are the best. But right now, Mara has been lagging for so long that there's not many people are paying attention. Mara has been cooking in the background and cooking quite heavily because they are working on acquiring more energy sources. Yeah, and then tomorrow we have Microsoft and the big names too. So, Michael, I'm telling you, it's like it's hidden. You know what I mean? So there's not much demand. They're gonna come up tomorrow, and if we see the data start coming out better and better, the market will find a little bit of risk on sentiment, with Mara being one of the winners here, right? Like we saw a rally coming into this. We're starting to see volume pick up again, which is very positive to see. But again, we have to wait and see. Stock's extremely undervalued right now. I mean, they're printing money. They are increasing revenue drastically. The question is like, because their revenue is tied to Bitcoin, we have to assume that Bitcoin will stay at these levels, and the fact that they are saying that Bitcoin is a little bit frothy tells you that, potentially we could see a little bit of weakness in the stock. They keep diluting into strength because they're trying to get capital to invest and grow their asset allocation and their energies and their computing farms. So that's where it's very tricky. But they're positioning themselves extremely well into the AI revolution and what it could come. If they're able to make the transition, not even make the transition, but take advantage of AI workloads, and then be able to monetize those AI workloads like CoreWeave is doing, for example, we could see Mara take advantage, like increase revenues drastically, right? And whenever those revenues don't come, which we could see them happening as compute starts like sort of becoming a commodity, we could see them go back into the mining side of things, so they will balance. It's like use the compute for mining when it's more profitable, use it for compute when it's more profitable, right? So you can manage it in those ways. The sovereign AI is interesting because they have the capabilities in order to build the infrastructure, so that's something that's valuable there. But again, they keep diluting, and the shareholders don't like this, and the company continues to get punished because of it, right? We saw 20, we were coming strong into the 20s, and then company decided to have a convertible note, bam, so the price come down. But again, we're touching a support level here. The earnings are good. We're going into strength, and as long as Bitcoin holds, the company should hold its value, right? Like my expectations is that we see a 3x move based on the price of Mara, and if we see continuous momentum on the price of Bitcoin, we should see continuous momentum on Mara. But again, the volatility is here to stay, right? So getting in at important levels when if you're in the stock and you bought at 20, buying at 10 is not bad at all to just re-up and make sure you have a little bit of cash on the sides and just sell that whenever you see a profit, right? Like if you bought at 10 and you sold at 20, you could buy at 16, right? So don't be afraid to take profits with Mara because this is unfortunately a ticker that you have to trade in and out of. You can have a long-term position, but don't be afraid to get in and get out, and don't let the volatility eat you, right? Like make sure it's money that you can afford to lose because it can be scary. It is scary, right? Like looking at how this stock moves is kind of nuts, you know? Going from 80 all the way to 16 right now, the people that bought here are hurt for sure. But right now we're seeing volume starting to pick up. I like the fact that we're going into like volume is starting to come in. Investors like insiders are selling, nothing too major. Institutions are selling a little bit, but again, Bitcoin is sitting at all-time highs. Most of the crypto market is sitting at all-time highs, right? Revenue growth is fantastic. If they keep it up and they're able to incorporate those AI earnings, it'll be fantastic. The fact that they're able to mine a Bitcoin at $33,000 and sell it for 118 is fantastic news. I like what they're doing. They're diversifying. They're exiting America, even though Trump wants everything in America. But again, they are an American miner. It's the truth. Look at this. The compute is mostly in America. So, what does that tell you? You know? And the big beautiful bill should be a catalyst. It should allow them to actually increase investing. And I think they're doing the right thing by getting some money now and deploying that capital. That's the reason we give money to stocks. So, if you don't have any other questions, I am getting out because I got to go to bed. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I continue to like the stock. Let me know your questions and comments. I'll make sure to answer them on this video. Have a great night. Find me on eToro, the first link. You can leave a post, like you can just leave a message in my post and I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible. I'm probably going to be streaming a couple more. JH, thanks so much. Dragos, thanks so much. Michael, thanks so much. Who else? A bunch of people today. Michael, Tristan, Peter, Sharp, all of you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you all. I'm going to be doing other earnings too. I wonder which ones, you know. I want to do... I might. I want to... Well, the thing is, it's like, it's Powell, into Microsoft, and tomorrow is such a big day. It's such a big day. Microsoft, Meta, Robinhood, Qualcomm, probably. I'm holding a hood position, and that's going to be probably very interesting earnings because they did the show, and you could see a retracement on hood. Hopefully they beat, you know. Hopefully they beat. What's their EPS? EPS is expected at 34 cents, and revenue is expected at 904 million. Happy. Stock is high right now, though. Stock is high for sure. All right. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate you. All right, to the moon, baby. To the moon. Shout out, everybody.